You have probably encountered a message like this at some point in your life. The text screams urgency, telling you that if you do not open it, you will miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It claims divine authority, implying that God Himself has sent this message directly to you. The message promises wealth, prosperity, or unimaginable luck if you act immediately. It often comes with a countdown or a phrase suggesting imminent danger or loss if you fail to respond. On the surface, it appears as though you are being given a rare chance, a secret shortcut to success that only a chosen few can access. Many people fall for it, clicking impulsively, driven by the desire to change their financial situation overnight or to feel a sense of divine favor. This type of message is a perfect example of modern digital manipulation, taking advantage of basic human psychology. It leverages the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO, and the allure of instant gratification. Our brains are wired to respond to urgent opportunities, especially when they seem scarce or time-sensitive. The message triggers a fight-or-flight response, urging immediate action without critical thought. It is designed to bypass skepticism and analytical reasoning, prompting a knee-jerk reaction. The inclusion of divine language adds another layer of pressure, tapping into spiritual beliefs. By invoking God or supernatural authority, the message increases perceived legitimacy. People are more likely to comply with requests framed as divine instructions, even if the logic behind them is questionable or non-existent. Over centuries, humans have been conditioned to respond to messages of divine or supernatural origin with reverence and urgency. The combination of urgency, promise of reward, and spiritual authority makes such messages highly persuasive. Often, these messages are accompanied by instructions that create a sense of personal responsibility. They suggest that your fate is directly in your hands, that your action or inaction will determine whether you gain wealth or lose luck. This framing is highly effective in motivating behavior because it makes the recipient feel uniquely empowered or threatened. In reality, these messages are usually part of a larger marketing strategy, phishing scam, or chain message scheme. They exist to exploit curiosity, fear, and hope for financial gain. Clicking the link or sharing the message often benefits the sender, not the recipient. While the message promises wealth within 48 hours, real financial success requires sustained effort, planning, and sometimes a significant amount of time. Instant riches without work or strategy are almost always a myth. Yet, the fantasy of sudden wealth is so enticing that millions of people fall into the trap each year. Modern communication technologies, particularly smartphones and instant messaging apps, have made these tactics easier to distribute widely. A single forwarded message can reach thousands of people within minutes. The viral nature of these messages means that the more people who click, the more likely the chain will continue, benefiting the original sender or promoters. Psychologists have studied the impact of chain messages extensively, noting that they exploit emotional vulnerabilities and cognitive biases. They play on hope, fear, greed, and spiritual beliefs simultaneously, making them remarkably effective despite being logically baseless. One fascinating aspect of these messages is how they create a narrative that you are special or chosen. By targeting the reader personally with phrases like, "God says you will become rich," or "this opportunity is only for you," the message fosters a sense of exclusivity. People naturally gravitate toward situations where they feel uniquely selected or important. The promise of extraordinary rewards for ordinary action, such as opening a message or forwarding it to friends, is particularly compelling. This is why many people engage with these messages despite knowing intellectually that they are unlikely to deliver. The structure of the message also mirrors ancient forms of persuasion. Throughout history, humans have been influenced by urgent proclamations, prophecies, and calls to immediate action, whether in religious, political, or social contexts. The digital version is simply a modern iteration of age-old human manipulation techniques, amplified by technology. Another key element is repetition and reinforcement. Chain messages often instruct recipients to share the message with others to maximize benefit or avoid misfortune. This not only spreads the message further but reinforces the recipient's belief that the action is meaningful and necessary. By participating, individuals feel part of a larger collective or cosmic plan, even if the content is entirely fabricated. From a rational standpoint, one can analyze these messages critically and recognize them as baseless. The promise of wealth in 48 hours from merely opening a message is statistically impossible. Legitimate financial gains require work, investment, or entrepreneurship. Luck, while a real phenomenon in life, cannot be guaranteed by clicking links or following arbitrary instructions. The language used in the message often employs superlatives and absolutes, such as urgently, now, before it's too late, and you will become rich. These words trigger emotional responses and limit rational consideration. When individuals are bombarded with emotionally charged language, their decision-making becomes more reactive than deliberative. Cognitive biases such as the scarcity effect and authority bias play major roles here. Scarcity creates urgency, suggesting that missing this window will have dire consequences. Authority bias leverages perceived credibility, whether divine or otherwise, to influence behavior. The combination of these factors makes the message extremely difficult to resist for those already experiencing financial stress or seeking quick solutions. Despite their deceptive nature, these messages can also serve as a reflection of human hopes, fears, and vulnerabilities. They illustrate the universal desire for a better life and the willingness to take seemingly small risks for the possibility of large rewards. Understanding the psychology behind them can make individuals more resilient, reducing the likelihood of falling prey to scams or manipulative tactics. Education and awareness are crucial. By recognizing the hallmarks of chain messages and online scams, urgent language, promises of instant wealth, appeals to divine authority, and instructions to share, people can make informed decisions and avoid unnecessary risks. Digital literacy programs increasingly emphasize critical thinking, skepticism, and verification of information before engagement. While chain messages can be entertaining or intriguing, it is important to maintain perspective. The allure of instant rewards must be weighed against the reality of effort, strategy, and time required for genuine success. Those who understand this distinction are better equipped to make sound decisions and protect themselves from emotional manipulation. Historically, humans have always been drawn to messages that promise extraordinary rewards with minimal effort. In ancient times, these messages came in the form of prophecies, letters from religious or political figures, or mystical writings that claimed to reveal secret knowledge. People were often told that their destiny could be altered if they followed certain instructions or rituals. These early forms of communication relied on the same psychological levers we see in modern chain messages: urgency, authority, exclusivity, and the promise of reward. For example, medieval European towns were often swept by pamphlets predicting doom or divine favor for those who followed specific guidance. The recipients of these messages would feel an immediate pressure to act, believing that their lives, or the lives of their families, could change dramatically if they obeyed. In many ways, today's "click now or lose your luck" messages are just a digital reincarnation of these age-old techniques. Modern technology has made these mechanisms far more efficient and widespread. A single message sent over the internet can instantly reach thousands, even millions, of people, whereas centuries ago, messages spread only as fast as a horse, a ship, or the mouth of a wandering messenger. The digital era amplifies the psychological effects because the recipient can act immediately. One click, one tap, and the promise is supposedly fulfilled. This immediacy reinforces the illusion of control and power over one's destiny. Psychological research explains why these messages are so effective. They exploit a variety of cognitive biases, each of which nudges the brain toward action without careful deliberation. The first, and perhaps most obvious, is the fear of missing out, or FOMO. Humans are evolutionarily wired to pay attention to scarce opportunities because missing them could have real consequences. In ancient times, failing to respond quickly to a threat or opportunity could mean starvation, danger, or social exclusion. In the modern context, FOMO is triggered by phrases like, "before it's too late," or "urgent," creating a sense of artificial scarcity. Another cognitive bias at play is the authority bias. By invoking divine or supernatural authority, these messages gain a veneer of legitimacy that many people find difficult to resist. Humans have evolved to respect authority figures, whether spiritual leaders, elders, or government officials. When a message claims to carry the direct instruction of a higher power, the recipient's critical reasoning can be temporarily overridden by obedience instincts. Optimism bias is also relevant. People naturally believe they are more likely to experience positive events than negative ones. This bias leads recipients to think, even subconsciously, that they are the special individual for whom the message was intended. If the message claims, "you will become rich," optimism bias nudges the brain to accept that possibility, however improbable it might be. Greed, a fundamental human motivator, cannot be ignored. The promise of wealth, prosperity, or extraordinary luck taps into a primal desire for resources. In evolutionary terms, acquiring more resources increased survival and reproductive success. Although the context has shifted dramatically, the underlying drive remains strong. This is why even rational individuals often feel a sudden, almost magnetic pull to engage with messages that promise financial gain. Cultural factors also influence how people respond to these messages. In societies with strong religious or spiritual traditions, appeals to divine authority carry more weight. In other contexts, appeals to social proof, suggesting that thousands of others have already benefited, can be equally persuasive. Marketing experts have long understood these dynamics, which is why chain messages often combine multiple persuasive elements simultaneously: urgency, authority, scarcity, reward, and social proof. The viral spread of such messages can be self-reinforcing. As more people forward the message, the perceived legitimacy increases. Recipients often think, if so many others are participating, it must be real. This phenomenon is closely related to the bandwagon effect, where individuals conform to perceived popular behavior, sometimes ignoring their own judgment. Many people also experience a form of magical thinking when encountering these messages. Magical thinking is the belief that certain actions can influence outcomes in ways that defy rational cause and effect relationships. The idea that opening a message could trigger wealth or luck is a classic example. While magical thinking is often harmless, in this context it can lead to wasted time, emotional stress, or even financial loss if the individual follows instructions that involve money transfers or personal data. Personal anecdotes reveal just how compelling these messages can be. Consider the person who receives such a message during a difficult financial period. They are stressed, anxious, and longing for relief. The message appears at precisely the right moment, offering a simple solution: open this now and wealth will follow. Even if they intellectually recognize the improbability, the emotional pull can be overwhelming. Other examples involve people forwarding messages to friends and family, believing they are helping others secure the promised fortune. In these cases, the psychological satisfaction of doing something good or protective reinforces the behavior, creating a feedback loop that perpetuates the chain. The ethical implications are noteworthy as well. While the creators of these messages often profit or gain attention, recipients are manipulated psychologically. The messages exploit vulnerabilities such as financial insecurity, spiritual beliefs, and social pressures. Even without direct financial loss, the emotional manipulation can be significant, leading to disappointment, anxiety, or guilt. Scammers often take advantage of these principles explicitly, creating messages designed to harvest personal information, install malicious software, or encourage financial transactions under false pretenses. Awareness and education are the best defenses. Recognizing the hallmarks of these messages, urgent language, unrealistic promises, divine or authoritative claims, and instructions to share, is crucial. Critical thinking, skepticism, and verification of sources help individuals resist impulsive reactions. Understanding that real financial success almost always requires effort, planning, and time is also essential. Reflecting on human nature, it becomes clear why such messages endure. They offer a narrative of hope, control, and immediate reward. They allow individuals to imagine a sudden transformation in their lives, even if the likelihood is vanishingly small. The fantasy itself has value, offering a brief escape from daily struggles. By examining these messages critically, one can enjoy the narrative without succumbing to manipulation. It is possible to acknowledge the allure, understand the underlying mechanisms, and choose not to act impulsively. The enduring popularity of these messages reminds us of fundamental human tendencies: the search for quick solutions, the desire for recognition, the hope for miraculous change, and the susceptibility to authority and urgency cues. The challenge in the modern digital era is balancing curiosity and skepticism, hope and critical reasoning. Every click or tap has consequences, whether minor or significant. By cultivating awareness and emotional resilience, individuals can navigate the digital landscape more safely while still allowing room for imagination and possibility. In the contemporary world, the digital age has intensified both the reach and impact of these messages. Social media platforms, instant messaging apps, and email chains have made it effortless for a single message to propagate across continents within seconds. The mechanics of virality in the digital sphere mirror, and in many ways amplify, the psychological dynamics previously discussed. Algorithms prioritize engagement, meaning messages that evoke strong emotional responses, fear, hope, greed, urgency, are more likely to be shown to larger audiences. This creates a feedback loop where the more dramatic and sensational the message, the wider its reach. Modern digital scams often combine this psychological manipulation with technical exploitation. Some messages contain malicious links that, when clicked, can steal personal information, install malware, or lead to financial loss. Others employ social engineering tactics, convincing recipients to share sensitive data, provide banking details, or participate in schemes that promise returns but deliver only losses. Despite these risks, people continue to engage because the underlying mechanisms are deeply rooted in human behavior. Understanding these mechanisms offers not only protection but insight into the human condition itself. It reveals how our desires, fears, and cognitive shortcuts can be harnessed for both good and ill. Education, critical thinking, and digital literacy serve as essential tools in this environment, helping individuals discern fact from fiction and resist manipulation. Beyond personal protection, awareness also has a communal aspect. When individuals recognize the deceptive nature of such messages, they can prevent further propagation. Sharing knowledge about scams, analyzing messages critically, and teaching others to pause before reacting all contribute to breaking the chain of manipulation. On a deeper level, these messages serve as a reflection of human hope, illustrating the universal desire for transformation, security, and fortune. While the promise of instant wealth is almost always illusory, the longing for it is genuine. This longing can inspire positive action if channeled correctly, pursuing education, building skills, investing wisely, or engaging in creative entrepreneurship. In this sense, the energy that might be expended on forwarding a chain message can instead be redirected toward constructive endeavors that produce real, sustainable outcomes. Emotionally, people often oscillate between skepticism and yearning. Even those who know logically that a message is improbable may still experience a fleeting hope that the extraordinary could occur. This tension between reason and desire is a hallmark of human psychology, highlighting our capacity for imagination and our vulnerability to manipulation. Stories abound of individuals who, despite recognizing the implausibility of such messages, are momentarily caught up in the thrill of possibility. These stories remind us that even rational minds are not immune to emotional influence, and that caution is a skill that must be actively practiced. Financially, the lessons are clear: wealth rarely arrives through passive, instantaneous means. True prosperity requires diligence, strategy, patience, and sometimes calculated risk. While luck may play a role in life, it cannot be summoned by clicking a link or obeying arbitrary instructions. Understanding this distinction is crucial in preventing both financial loss and emotional disappointment. On a societal level, the persistence of these messages underscores the importance of media literacy and critical engagement with digital content. Societies that cultivate skepticism, analytical thinking, and ethical digital practices are better equipped to mitigate the harms of deceptive messages. Encouraging dialogue about scams, chain messages, and manipulative content can foster collective resilience, reducing vulnerability to psychological exploitation. At a personal level, encountering such messages offers an opportunity for reflection. They challenge individuals to examine their desires, priorities, and decision-making processes. They prompt questions such as, "What do I truly hope for? What am I willing to do to achieve it? How do I separate aspiration from illusion?" Engaging with these questions thoughtfully can lead to greater self-awareness, emotional regulation, and prudent action. Ultimately, the story of a message promising sudden wealth or luck is not just about deception, it is about human nature, technology, and the interplay between hope and reason. It demonstrates how simple stimuli, combined with cognitive biases and cultural conditioning, can influence behavior profoundly. It also illustrates the potential for resilience, learning, and growth when individuals apply critical thinking, patience, and disciplined effort. By recognizing the patterns and understanding the psychological triggers, people can navigate these encounters with confidence and clarity. They can choose not to be manipulated, while still appreciating the emotional allure and cultural significance of such messages. In this sense, even a message designed to deceive can serve a purpose, teaching discernment, patience, and the value of sustained effort over instant gratification. Life, unlike these fleeting promises, rewards preparation, perseverance, and informed decision-making. Wealth, luck, and success are the outcomes of cumulative effort, learning, and strategic choices, not the result of arbitrary digital instructions. Reflecting on this provides both perspective and empowerment, highlighting the difference between fleeting illusions and tangible accomplishments. In conclusion, the phenomenon of urgent chain messages promising immediate rewards is a multifaceted reflection of human psychology, culture, and technology. They leverage urgency, authority, exclusivity, fear, hope, and greed to elicit action. They exploit cognitive biases, emotional vulnerabilities, and the innate human desire for improvement and recognition. While the promises are illusory, the lessons they offer are real: the importance of critical thinking, patience, informed action, and understanding the interplay between desire and reason. By studying and reflecting on these messages, individuals can protect themselves, cultivate awareness, and channel their hopes and energies toward endeavors that genuinely lead to growth, security, and fulfillment. The allure of instant wealth or luck may never disappear entirely, but the power to discern reality from illusion is firmly within human control. The challenge and opportunity lie in exercising that power consistently, thoughtfully, and ethically, recognizing that true rewards are earned, not instantaneously granted, and that the journey toward prosperity is as meaningful as the destination itself.